Okay, today we are going to do some outdoor seeding, and I will show you the little seeds that I planted just a few weeks ago that are already germinated and up in my backyard. But today I wanted to kind of give you a preview of what I'm doing here. So I had some seeds that I wanted to drop down in the ground directly because they just do better. They're like early blooming annuals. Some of them are kind of a perennial, but I think most of these are annuals. And I just was actually out here shaking some of these poppies. And if you are in a warm climate, it recommends, if I look on the back here, mild climate, late summer to early fall for winter and spring bloom. So it's sort of late fall now, but I'm going to go ahead and put these in by just scratching up the surface a little bit right here and dropping a few seeds in. These are really small, and watering them, and then they will start to germinate. In fact, I already have some which I believe are growing from some seeds that I had before. I want to say that these are going to be the Queen Anne's lace, though I'm not exactly sure, but I see a lot of them around here. And they're just naturally coming up, right? They were just from last year's blooms. In fact, there is a sunflower, I can tell by the seed. So they will just naturally come up, and they'll either make it or they won't. But I find this is the best time to do it. So I will just gently water them, and then they will be on their own and will make it through and probably bloom. These are flowers that won't bloom here in the summer because it's just too hot. So we have to do this sort of early fall, or I did plant some of these like in the winter last year, and they did fine too, like my Queen Anne's lace. So we're gonna do the rest of these, and I'm just gonna make little pockets around. Trying not to disturb where I think some of the other ones will be, though I'm sure that will happen. Like here's some over here that have come back up. I'm just trying to think what those even are. I had so many different plants here. These could be the Nigella that I had over here. And I have a lot of those other seeds that I'll probably shake around, but I'll probably do them, you know, every couple of weeks. I'll throw down some seeds, and then again, I'll do some in probably January for like another round. So it's just as easy as that. That's why growing seeds here, though you can do them in the pots, and I am doing that, in many ways, it's just easier to put them down in the ground and let Mother Nature take care of them as she will, right? So everything looks pretty much the same in my garden. The lion's ears are now kind of just basically in full bloom here. I saw a hummingbird on them yesterday. They are really pretty and such a different plant. It's kind of an odd plant actually, but I just love their tubular flowers and the way they come out on different stalks. Like there's this, and they have like a couple different layers, right? There's one there and there's one there on the same stem, and here are a couple that are kind of split together, but they are this beautiful bright orange. Like I said, the hummingbird was on them, and the my pineapple sage is over here also in full bloom, doing amazing and really, really nice. So I'll take you around the back now to show you the seeds that are sprouting. Oh, also my Thanksgiving mums are now not in full bloom, but this for some reason this bunch is coming out, and these are budded up here, and these are all budded up over here. I do have a line here of hollyhocks that I planted. I don't think I have a date on these, but I put them in about a week ago. I think I showed you the seeds on the plant. I soaked them. They had to soak. Let's take this out of here. And I just put them in. They started to just swell a little after being soaked for about 48 hours. And I put them in the line because I know that I tried to plant some hollyhocks in the early spring, and they sprouted, but they never bloomed. And we'll see how that goes. Here's the hollyhock. The Watchman here is what I have on this side. And then over here, I have a different kind. Hollyhocks, what does this say? Double something. This thing's in my way. There we go. Double blend. So I have these over here, which I don't really see much happening. There's a couple here. we had a really hard rain from our storm that came through here, like a late tropical storm. So I'm hoping they didn't get washed away, but there's a few here, so we'll see. The other ones seem to be germinating at a much better pace. And it looks like these nasturtiums, I don't know if they'll bloom. And my calendula, not doing so good. I have dug up a lot of stinkhorn mushrooms, and I have a feeling there's more in here because I can smell them. I just have to detect them out. I literally just dug up like 4 right before I turned on the video camera. They stink, and they're all in the garden, so I'm not sure if they came from this mulch or where. I dug a bunch of them up over here yesterday and over there where I was just seeding, so I can smell them, meaning I know there's more where I just was. Sometimes you just can't tell where they are until their little weird red heads start coming up. And it is disgusting. But I'll grab them and dig them out. It's not the end of the world, and they're easy to dig out here. So, all right, let's go to the back. I realized that I didn't actually show you the seeding. So I literally just put some tiny seeds. These are the poppy seeds in my hand. They're really small. And I'm just literally going to sprinkle them around. There's nothing more than that. It says rake in. I'm just gonna take my hands and just, that's it. And then I'll just gently mist them. And I'm gonna save some for another round. I'm not gonna put them all in, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 little spots here, and I'm gonna have to mark them or I'm never gonna remember what I planted where. So I've got a few of the other ones to do, and then I'll show you the back. Well, it's Monday and I'm not doing any work, of course, because of 4-day weekends, but I am out here and I'm checking out my seedlings that I planted. I want to show you. So if you haven't learned already, I am an avid gardener and I planted some seeds. These were planted on Halloween, so it's been about 2 weeks. And it looks like a lot of them are coming up. There's a few over here that I'm not having a whole lot of luck with, but I think, I'm not sure. Oh, they are starting to come up. There's a few little ones in there, but not as great germination over here. Hi! And this is my sweet little girl, Claire, who's gonna run around the backyard. And I'm just out here, just took a walk, and I'm just looking at all my seeds that I planted. Here are some more down here in these 2 pots. And they are coming up nicely. Some snapdragons, some violas, and some pansies. And they're actually like, these are doing really nicely. So I'm super excited about this germination. And I might gonna work out here in my potting shed for a little while and just enjoy a nice fall day. Okay, so here we are. I am back, and I know I showed you guys the seeding of these trays. These pansies that are red, red and white, are looking really nice. I had them underneath this bench during the tropical storm because I was out of town, but I had them under here for some added protection, and they look like they did okay. They were quite wet, and they probably still have a little bit of water down in the bottom, but that's okay because I wanted to keep them moist. They don't germinate if they get dried out. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye on them here, trying to keep the leaves that are falling out of the way because, you know, if they are getting blocked, then they won't germinate. So taking the acorns and the leaves off the top of them. These here are so small. They're the snapdragons, and look at the tiny plants. They are little tiny, minuscule. So we'll see. This one seems to be doing okay. These here, I don't really like the look at these. I may have to redo something on these. They just, I don't know what happened, if they just got too wet or they just need a little more time. These were sown on 11/1. And let's see, snaps. I had different types. These were the red pansies too that are coming up really slow. So we'll see. And it could just maybe depend on, you know, where they were. And these pansies were on Halloween, so a day earlier. And then I did these down here on 11/1. Some snapdragons down here. Now in this, that came up really nicely with no problems. These are the tall, again, different varieties, different ones. This is Viola Summer Breeze. and they were done on 11/1. So they're just starting to come up nicely here. Just not that many in here, but we'll see. I think the leaves may be getting in the way. Though they say they need darkness, so they should be okay. But, you know, they're not going to grow over these leaves, so I got to try to keep these out as much as possible until they get just a little bit bigger, and then they're fine. You don't want them to be covered up. Some of them need darkness to germinate, which seems to be the pansies and the violas, but the snaps needed light. So we'll just see how they go, and if they have to be, I mean, we still probably have plenty here, but anyway, that is the updates. So it's been 14 days or 13 to 14 days on these seeds, and they are all coming up really nicely. So it doesn't take very long, and I literally just put them in the ground, watered them once or twice, and left them. And then they are on their own. So we don't want them to get too spindly here like some of these are. But they're definitely, not every one of these is going to, you know, turn into a mature plant. So that's why we have extra seeds, so that we make sure we have a good chance to get a good amount. And if sometimes all of them will turn into mature plants, but it's very rare unless you just have the perfect situation or environment. But that's why we overseed a little bit, because not everyone will make it. So there's the update on that. So I'm going to go back out there and finish planting those winter annuals and just spritzing them gently, like with the misting, and keeping them moist. We are supposed to get some rain tomorrow, so I want to get them in. And everything else back here is pretty much looking the same. These ginger lilies are blooming really nicely. These I moved last year, but they smell so great. We haven't really done anything on the potting shed because we were out of town. What we did do is clean up yesterday. We had all of this over here. We had like a whole construction site with a table with all of these boards and trash and everything. So we cleaned all that up, put it into the back of my hubby's truck. And now we just have a small pile here of wood that we'll use when we need to. And we got rid of everything here, so it's starting to look like it's cleaned up a little bit. And that pile of shingles that I showed you like months and months and months ago, right on the other side of this fence, we also picked that up, and that was a nightmare. There were so many shingles. But they're finally out. They've literally been here for 20 years. I'm not kidding. That's the time we got our new roof on, and we had a bunch of them left over. And they were sitting out here because we were going to do something with them. And you know how that goes. And then, of course, I thought I was going to use them on the potting shed roof, but found the metal, and so glad I did. So we still have more to do, of course, on the shed, but it's totally usable right now. So I'm going to just go inside, and I have to get some markers. He locks it and he doesn't tell me. Then I try to yank the door open. I need some plant markers. So I have moved some stuff out here, and then I hadn't put it back. So I'm looking for some things that I moved here that I really need to put back out in the garage. And that's the case right now. I'm kind of half here and half there. And some things I'm going to have to get some duplicates of. I'm sorry, all my drills and things are here. Here's what I'm looking for. This is my outdoor Sharpie I got last year. It's meant for outdoor and wet, like waterproof, because what happens is I would mark the names of my seeds on these little markers, or the little white ones, and then it would come off. So these are the ones I've already seeded. These are those ones that you just saw, the seeds. We still have some left over. That way, if something doesn't germinate real well, or like we got washed away or something, I still have another chance. So I'm going to grab some plant markers here, and I am going to go back in the front because I just planted all those seeds, and I need some more of these little markers, or I'm not going to remember what I planted. And I'm going to take some of these too. So I'll see you next time.